What's up, guys? Welcome to the Move the Needle podcast. We're live from the Hair of the Dog today, Steve.
Love it.
Episode number 34. We've got a great lineup for you today, but before we get to them, we want to talk about three of our very favorite people. Have a watch.
What makes Bella Set lingerie so unique? For starters, check out the vast selection and size range. Cups from A to K in styles like balcony, plunge, wireless, strapless, and more, including mastectomy and maternity bras. With superior customer service and free professional fittings, it's the go-to bra shop in the East Valley. Locally owned, with 2 locations in Ahwatukee and Gilbert. Check out our glowing reviews on Google and Yelp. Visit bellasetlingerie.com to learn more.
Hi, I'm Kim Selchin, owner of Tutor Doctor of Ahwatukee, Chandler, and Gilbert. We understand every student is unique, which is why we meet them where they feel most at ease, whether online, at home, or in a public space. Our academic coaching is designed to help even the brightest students overcome organizational challenges, sharpen study skills, and build confidence, empowering them to achieve their best. From kindergarten to adult, we believe every student can be successful. We also have expert SAT and ACT coaches to help teens with college admissions and scholarships. I'm excited to learn how we can partner with your family to help today's learners become tomorrow's successful adults.
Welcome to episode number 34.
And a half.
And a half, yeah.
We've had practice.
We've had some practice. We're live from the Hair
And a
of the
lot of
Dog.
fun is that.
I'm embarrassed to admit that we started this podcast one time, and I didn't have his mic engaged. And then we started it a second time. We got in about 15 minutes, and I realized that I wasn't recording.
And I'll give my partner a little break here. We do have a newer piece of equipment. You're not.
We can't
totally
even blame it on that, man.
Okay.
It needs to be read to record.
I'm trying to help you out.
That's recording 101. The lights should be on.
I just assumed I was doing such a bad job that when I looked over, you just kind of shut the record off.
But now you see he's warmed up. Now that's what you're
I'll
trying
tell
to-
you a story, and this is no lie. One time I was on the air, and we had just landed Kelly Clarkson, and she was at the height of everything. This is after Idol. She had like 5 hit songs in a row, and we landed this interview, and we were the only one in the market that landed the interview, and it was a big damn deal. And I had her on. We interviewed her for 15 minutes, and she had to go. And when I hung up the phone with her, I went to hit the stop button, and I realized I never hit the start button. And we didn't record an ounce of the interview with Kelly Clarkson. And I had to go back to my program director and all these other people and let them know that had happened. That will not be the case this time.
And that's why he's asked me to recreate that and give the interview today as Kelly Clarkson.
And he's just about locally as famous here as Kelly Clarkson.
No. Let's get to it, man. So, listen, we've got a great show. Like I said, Brian McKean's here. Dr. Bridget Fitzgibbons is going to be here. We're going to sit down with Thomas James first, a professional musician.
Extraordinaire.
And, listen, there's so many things that we could talk about, but it would probably be smart of us to start back at the beginning. Professional musician.
You bet.
How do you land this title? Does that start in like a high school band for you, or what's that look
funny.
like?
Well, I would never use that title because that sounds like a title that would come with a tie. But
we can get one for you.
To go back, I started playing guitar when I was 12. You know the story of how I learned how to play guitar? It's great. Is that it always seems to start with a girl. There was a girl in middle school who said, "Do you play guitar?" And I said, "Yes." And I went home and said, "I got to learn how to play guitar."
Yeah.
And you know her name too. Give her a shout out.
And there's not even YouTube, bro.
Shelley.
There's not even YouTube, bro. So you had to get a book. You had to get a guy.
Yeah. No, I had a teacher, but I have a gift from my grandmother, it skipped generation, that I just play everything by ear. And so I hear music, that's how I write, I just hear it. And I didn't realize that until I picked up a guitar and I realized that I could just play it. So it took about a year until I was in a band. Forrest McKinnon was a drummer that just used to beat the hell out of his drums. And it wasn't long until we had a band that was playing in bars. And so I was a young teenager playing in bars. We had adults in our band. We had a drummer that was a trash man.
What does that mean? Oh, like he was literally a garbage guy.
22, 23 years old, and he used to dumpster dive. And as I'm an old man now, looking back on this, thinking, gross. As a teenager, he used to show up at practice with like stuff he pulled out of people's trash, and he goes, "Hey, you guys want any of this?" And
He's a legend, yeah.
Absolutely, we want that. I mean, he would pull out like CDs and stuff out of people's
Hell yes.
trash. Yeah. And then the band that we finally put together was doing very well and ended up turning into a band called Digger, Digger. I quit that band and was replaced not long afterwards, and they ended up with a record deal. They put out 2 records. They toured North and Central America, and they had quite a bit of success. One of the guys in that band, Tim Heidecker, is a successful producer in Hollywood, and it's crazy that we were 15, 16-year-old kids back then writing songs.
How does that make you feel being, let's call it what is, maybe feeling left behind, and, those guys, going to the top where you're kind of like stepping out? What did that feel like?
Yeah. I think that those feelings were probably justified, but I've never been that guy. So that's just not the way I'm genuinely happy for people when they're successful.
No resentment?
No.
I mean, a lot of people, I think a lot of people would have been. So I think that that's a testament of, who you are as a person. Again, it's tough to cheer for, people say, people say they want to cheer for you to win, but I think it's tough when in situations like that, like when you want to be part of something and you're not.
It can be, man.
Like
if
a
you
team.
want to hold on to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But so even as a kid, you didn't feel or see the value in hanging on to it.
Yeah, I'm just not wired that way.
Yeah.
I don't see any value in that way of thinking. I'm a pretty positive person, and what's interesting is that years later, P.H. Naffa from Roger Klein and the Peacemakers and the Refreshments, very good friend, said, it's time for you to run it back. It's time for you to do this again. And it was just the right moment. And Landed, which is a band that PH and I are both in, he really helped me to figure out how to do that again. And someone could say, oh, well, you're so lucky. Well, sometimes things break in your favor. Sometimes they don't break in your favor. And that's just the nature of life.
Yeah, it's not good or bad, it is. Right.
It is.
It's just such a great way to think about it. I spent 28 years in the entertainment industry, and there's so many reasons behind the reason it doesn't fit, and it's really easy to take them all personal, but there is that's such wasted energy. Let's just get on with it. Let's just keep marching our march and doing our thing. Talk about that band and where they are now. Are they still doing things, or did they ultimately dissolve as well?
Yeah, Phil, who replaced me, tragically died of a heroin overdose.
Oh, man.
And that was just such a big eye-opener for all of us. And not to take this too heavy, but addiction runs in my family. My reasons for leaving that band were rooted in addiction. And, it's often a misunderstanding that art and drugs are interchangeable, that one can... that you can be inspired in a certain way. And I know many stories when people have been inspired while under the influence, but it's not necessary.
Right.
And it took me a long time to realize that.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, I saw it all the time. People would be like, I can't do this if I'm not drunk. Or you hear it with musicians who are songwriters. They're like, I need to be stoned in order to write my lyrics and go to my place. Or I need to go on a trip in order to see the things that I need to see. And I don't know. You give me your opinion on it. Do you feel like you have to be under the influence in order to be on the stage and be creative at this stage of the game?
It's so much better to not be.
Yeah.
It's so much better to not be. It really is. It's just the experience. Music is so powerful. In my opinion, it doesn't need anything else. I think a lot of what drives musicians to drugs is the music industry is so garbage, it's so corrupt, it's indentured servitude, and so you get this bright light, this artist who creates. Now, it's very difficult to be depressed if you're creating. Those are opposite emotions, and they're creating, and they've got this special gift, and then you have it monetized. You have a record contract, which they're rarely fair. They're rarely a good deal.
At least in the beginning, right?
Yeah, and what you're doing is you're forcing that bright light into a situation where now they're required to do way more than they probably should be doing in a situation. And Johnny Cash, when he described his addiction, he said, it's as simple as this. I was having a hard time getting ready for a show and I had a guy say, well, you need to take this. And then I was having a hard time falling asleep, and I had a guy say, well, you need to take this.
You need to take this.
Well, you do
Enablers.
that. You do that long enough, and you find yourself what they were giving you were very serious and lead to even stronger addictions.
And it's a vicious cycle. Yeah, because everything leads to the next.
When you look at guys like Mick Jagger,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know this. My understanding, Mick Jagger's father was a PE teacher, and that Mick Jagger still and always has run sprints before every show.
It's tough
Yeah.
to do when you're super drunk.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing is, my understanding, and it's similar to like a who's the guy? Not Frank Sinatra.
Tony Bennett.
Nope. Keep
No,
going.
Dean Martin.
Dean Martin. You know, Dean Martin used to have his glass around with him, and his family said that was apple juice.
Oh yeah.
Dean Martin was putting on a show. And Keith Richards, who notoriously has done all of the drugs,
All
of them,
Yes.
you know, Mick Jagger, apparently not so. Mick Jagger is incredibly healthy. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on with that guy, but the point being is that there's a guy who sees the value of
Shockingly,
being healthy.
you know who else? We've brought up one of my favorite bands of all time, Kiss. Gene Simmons, believe it or not,
Yeah, he's straight and narrow,
no
man.
drugs or alcohol, straight up Eddie.
I believe studied to be a rabbi.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't know
Just
that.
women.
Just his
women.
dad. He says that's his addiction. Which I mean, as long as it's consensual and okay with both, I guess he's okay with it. But it's amazing, and like we had that chat about again, like being deadheads and seeing Jerry Garcia many times, and we shared that we know that addiction had him. He didn't want to die. He was still touring. He had touring with the Dead, the Jerry Garcia band, and I had the experience really late in life, in 1994, right before he died, to see him very close up, and my hope, I've probably seen him double-digit shows at least, and then to get this close to him, and really he was white as a ghost, and that was the show that they took him off stage halftime. They thought he died that day. People were crying in the crowd. And again, to me, that was like, it really hit home, drugs that day, because here you are seeing like kind of a guy, everybody's having a great time, enjoying it, and you're thinking he's gone. And he actually was gone a couple weeks later. That was one of his last shows, I believe. But again, it's like addiction, I use Jerry Garcia as an example because there's so many people he's touched, and I say, like, listen, if he can go down like that, like anybody can go down.
That reminds me of a story he told about having trips that were so bad at the start of a show that he felt someone was there to kill him, and he would work a deal out with himself in his mind that he was playing for his life. And some
twisted motivation.
scary.
Man.
And the thing is, I feel compassion. I see drugs as people self-medicating, and so some people could look at that with judgment. Some people could look at that with laughter, and I just am sad about it. I see a guy that's self-medicating, and I just think there's a better way.
Yeah, somebody told me a long time. They said, try to live a life you don't have to escape from, and
Thank you.
It's just a great quote that's kind of always stuck with me.
Anybody watching this or listening to this that's struggling, a lot of love and a lot of support from all
So
three of
let's
us.
talk music, some more music.
Yeah.
The band landed.
He's playing with all these big time guys now, right?
The band
He's
landed
big time in essence now.
Well, he's
So
the wild card, the wildcat.
Why
I
do you
call
say
him.
that?
I'm a nobody in that band. So I got PH Naffa on drums. I've got Jeff Lesby Brialt, who was the founder of a band called Mercy Fall that put out a couple of records and toured all over. Lee Benson, who is a virtuoso. This guy is a virtuoso. We start our show with an instrumental.
You do?
And we start our show with an instrumental, and I'm watching this thing every show. We got a show on Saturday. I watch this thing. I forget myself. They're so good. I'm a fan. And then towards the end, I have to remember
They
every
tap
time.
you on the shoulder. They're like, hey, you're the singer.
It's time to go on stage, and they bring out the very best in me. I have to, because the talent level is just so high. The only challenge and constraint with that band is that we have limits on how much we can play because these guys are so busy. So we have a show this weekend. We're playing. If you guys don't know what Circus Mexicus is, you know what you need to do. You need to go to Circus Mexicus and shoot your podcast down there. Every June.
Noted.
Max, do you hear that?
Roger Klein and the Peacemakers.
Oh.
They're down at Rocky Point.
It's down at Rocky Point.
Rocky Point.
He invited me there one time for
it's
this
4
thing.
days.
Yeah.
And so Landed is playing down there. And let me just tell you something.
When is that?
It's the first weekend of June.
Okay.
And it is so fantastic. I bet you there's 20, 30 bands over 5 days.
Wow.
There's 5 stages, 8,000 people.
Wow.
And they take over Rocky Point, and it is just fantastic. But Landed is playing there, but it's limited, and that's what led me to start the Thomas James Band. Is just I had more music to do. Thomas James Band plays probably once or twice a week, and Landed probably plays every other month.
Yeah, fun fact, he's going to play a little bit for us at the end of this podcast. So
very excited to hear that. So,
So what do you do? Is you're a singer and a little bit of a guitar player?
I sing, I play guitar, and I write.
You do write?
Yeah, I write.
I love the writing process.
Yeah.
What is your process with it?
So it's, I'll tell you, if I'm actually working on a song, it's probably not going to be very good. The best songs just appear, and they write themselves. The best songs will write themselves, lyrics and music, in under 5 minutes. I've got probably a half a dozen songs that I've dreamed, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and have to go into another room to try not to wake anybody up. And it's an interesting process to hear a song in a dream, to wake myself up. It's almost lucid, to be able to recognize, because it's happened plenty of times where I'm like, that song sucks, or it's somebody else's song. So to be able to pause and say, that's good. Go into the other room, write it, record it, and then try to go back to sleep afterwards.
Yeah, good luck with that, because now the wheels are spinning, right?
But he does it. Apparently, how many songs have come? I mean,
I've written well over 100. Wow. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's such a cool thing to have this living, breathing thing that gets to live forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna have a little fun with him.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's have some
I got
fun.
a couple phones.
You gonna make them color?
No, maybe we'll see. If you could swap places one day with any rock star in a famous band,
Oh, this is a
past
good
or
question.
present, who would it be? And what's the first thing you'd do in their shoes?
Jeez, I know my answer. I want to go too.
Oh, swap with Eddie. That's such a good. I'm so glad you can edit this so that you can cut out all of the time that I'm thinking about this. So Jim Morrison.
Okay.
Okay, so that it's Jim Morrison. So what do you do? Are you in a scene with him like how he used to? You gotta.
Okay, so I got to tell you something about Jim
You're
Morrison.
in his shoes.
Okay, the thing is, so a lot of times when people think Jim Morrison, they could think his antics. No, they could think, he was like an appealing guy. No interest. They could say that he's a performer. That's not what I like about him. He's a poet. Man, that guy, like some of his lyrics, when I was with somebody not so long ago, and you say you like this guy, I say I like that guy. We try to be friendly about it. This guy said, I hate the Doors. I said, I just can't let that go. I can't let that go. You need to help me to understand.
Taking that personally.
Understand
You
why.
can't hate the Doors.
Why do you hate the Doors? And he's just like, no bass player. I'm like, okay. Now there you go. That's valid. But it's like, one of the things is, say you got a song. Think of a song that you like. Go deep on it. Why do you like it? What's it about? What's he singing about? Does it have meaning? Does it have purpose in your life? Is it connected to an event in your life? When you go deep on Jim Morrison's, it's like Shelley. I mean, it's like going back to, some of the greatest poets of all time. And I see that in him. And so that's just interesting. I'd love to know what he was feeling in some of those moments.
Who would you swap with? I want to know your answer, man.
Well, the hot
swap
seat.
for one day with him.
Listen, I've already said one of the I saw.
Would it be Garcia?
No, I would swap with one of the to me the greatest band on earth. His entertaining was Kiss, and
Gene Simmons.
I got my parents let me go in 1978, the Kiss Alive tour, and I still talk about it. It's on many shows. After seeing the Stones, the Who, Garcia, still as far as a show, entertainment wise, it was still the best. I was 10 years
Wow.
old, and if I could, the energy that they put in, and it just because
course.
they're entertainers too. It's like it's music / entertainment, and I like that because listen, I don't have the talent. So you're asking somebody that's really not musically inclined, who would you be? I could jump on stage, throw a little makeup on, and kind of dance around a little bit.
Put a little tongue extender
little
on
bit.
there and have a little fun.
Did
Yeah.
you see Gene Simmons has a new deal where if you pay $12,000, you can be his personal assistant for the day?
He canceled it. Unfortunately, did you hear that? I'm sorry to be the bearer.
Can I make an announcement?
Yeah, it's back on.
I have a new promotion. You can be my personal assistant for free.
For
Oh,
free.
wow, there-
Yeah, I'm just looking for some
free.
help. just somebody that's
Everybody
willing.
that was lined up for Gene Simmons, I'm sorry about the disappointment, but I'd like to create some bridge here for you.
Yeah.
Matthew, I thought it was funny. He said Jim Morrison because I mean, not that it's really similar, but we know who just died, and that's Val Kilmer.
Sure.
Who played that I thought an amazing role.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch?
I didn't watch it.
He
I know.
He's a purist.
I'm a
He can't
purist,
see
I
it.
wouldn't
What,
watch
Can't
it.
see
listen,
it.
I just heard today that he actually asked Oliver Stone if he could sing the songs. He sang those songs.
That's
that was
so
himself.
cool.
So, and he said he couldn't tell if it was him. Oliver had to listen to it and couldn't tell. So that was pretty cool. But again, Val Kilmer, again, like one of those guys I think we kind of grew up with.
Sure.
Iceman.
All right,
Iceman.
my answer, and then we're going to move on and kind of wrap up. I'm going to flip a coin, and I'm either going to be Prince for a day, or I'm going to be one of the members of the Beastie Boys.
Oh, you're Beastie Boys, dude.
I'm a Beastie
Come on.
Boys dude.
I love the Beastie
Look at those
Boys.
glasses.
Yeah,
You're a Beastie Boys.
I would love to be on that stage doing what those guys can
One
do.
lonely beastie you be.
Yeah.
All by myself
Maddie
without
B.
nobody.
Maddie B.
That's it, man. All right, so we're in a band called Landon. We got the Thomas James Band. How do people find you? How do they see you? Are you on the gram? What are you doing?
Instagram, the Thomas James Band is the best way to find me, yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
Landed the Band on Instagram as well.
Landed the Band.
Landed the Band.
Okay. It's actually got a nice little roll to it, doesn't it? All right, he's going to be playing a couple of songs for us at the end of this podcast.
Can't wait.
Very cool. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to record our 7th podcast of the day with Dr. Bridget Fitzgibbons, and then, of course, Brian McKean, who's invested himself right here at the Hair of the Dog. We'll see everybody in just a minute.
See you back.
Thank you, buddy.
At Brooklyn V's, we bring the taste of Brooklyn right here to Arizona. Our family's been serving up real Italian food for generations, and every dish is made with love, just like Nonna used to make. From classic spaghetti and meatballs to layers of cheesy lasagna, stuffed shells, and the best New York-style pizza in town, every bite is pure Italian comfort. And if you haven't tried our world-famous cheesecake, well, you're missing out. It's been rated one of the best in the area, and once you taste it, you'll know why. So come hungry, leave happy, and enjoy a little slice of Brooklyn right here in Arizona.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's episode number 34 of our Move the Needle podcast.
I
We're
thought
live at the Hair
34
of the
and a
Dog.
half now by now.
I guess you're right. I
Yeah,
guess
we're almost
you're
at
right.
35.
Yeah, well, we're about to sit down with Dr. Bridget Fitzgibbons, and what you don't know, Doc, is that we started the podcast with Thomas James. 17 minutes in, I realized we were not recording a single bit of it, and so we had to kind of start again. So anyways,
Matthew just started this gig 30 years ago.
yeah,
and he's just,
it's my first time with recording
his
equipment.
10,000th gig.
Thanks again to a few of our sponsors, Belisette, Brooklyn V's, the Tutor Doctor, and now I want to jump into all things medicine. Well, not necessarily medicine, but you're
Networking
a
too.
naturopath.
Yeah.
Naturopathic doctor, yes.
Yeah, and which has always been one of the most fascinating types of doctors to me. I think they're the truth, right? Like, listen, everybody has their specialty. Everybody's good at a few things, but you're kind of good at this holistic thing, which I think is what makes you ultimately the most valuable. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So what do you want to know about her, Steve?
I want to know, like, obviously, when I hear what type of doctor she is, I'm struggling. I played over 2,000 competitive hockey games. My body's got a little wear and tear, and let's just call it some arthritic conditions. And so I'm struggling right now in a couple areas where I believe I need, like,
We're going to start the interview by you asking for help.
yes,
Okay,
either
great.
stem
Is this
cells or
turning into a
PRP.
doctor's
Go right there.
appointment?
Let's talk
Hi,
about
welcome to our podcast. How can you help me?
let's talk about PRPs and stem cell injections and
There you
gel.
go, buddy.
And that's
There you
what
go.
we're talking about. Yeah. Can you
Do you
help me
do
with
some of
that?
that stuff?
Yes, you can call the office and make an appointment.
Okay. Well, I don't know anything about it. What are they just gonna? I'm just gonna go do it, and then it's done. Boom. I'll be fixed. What
so
happens?
You would
good,
come
man.
in for a consult, and then
Okay.
we would determine if that was something that was fixable. So first,
Okay.
you'd want to get imaging. You'd want to do a consultation with the doctor to find out if that was what was the best route. Anything in the regenerative medicine space, you need to make sure. Like if you have a full tear of something, that's not necessarily going to work. It'll help speed up the healing process, but it's not going to fix a complete muscle tear or tendon tear. Then you would, go from there.
What about arthritic conditions?
Yeah, that wouldn't be my go-to for arthritic conditions.
Okay.
As far as sports injuries, and you can use stem cells and PRP for lots of different things. They use it in the aesthetic space. They use it in the sports medicine space. And
What is it actually for our audience? I mean, 'cause that's why I guess I want to talk. Like, I guess let me from my point of view. You hear these kind of like these acronyms, and you
they're all
hear that they
revolutionary,
work.
the next big
what
thing.
What is it, and what does it actually possibly can do for me?
so PRP in general is what everybody loves about it is it's your body's own healing mechanism that's used. So you're not putting anything foreign into the body. And what that does, generally, if you're doing it in joint space, which is what you've asked about, not in other regions, like people use it for hair growth, they'll use it for aesthetic purposes. But when you're doing it in a joint space, what it does is help repair the tendons and ligaments by an inflammatory process and speeds up that joints, like ligaments, tendons, they don't have a big blood supply or lymph flow, so the PRP helps. It's basically like I don't know a good term for it. This isn't exactly what I was prepared to talk
that's
about.
okay. Is it a permanent? Let me ask you this: is it permanent? Is it something that when it works, are you healed? Is it you have to continue?
Has it got some staying
Yeah, has it
power?
got some staying power? You got to keep getting it.
I mean, you still would if you re-injure yourself and you're constantly aging. So, but once the ligaments are repaired, generally anything that's ligament based is only going to get an 80% tensile strength back. But once you do it, yep, you're good. Just don't go
All right.
out and re-injure it. Don't go play
Good.
another
Now
hockey
I'm
game.
good. I'm good now.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
good.
good.
Now. Yeah, I'm good.
Got you out of the way. Now we're
I
good.
got my free consultation.
What's super cool about you, Doc, is that you just have you yourself are this holistic kind of approach to life, right? Like I'm reading about you online, and she's in the mental health field. She's a clinical researcher. She's a physician. She's a therapist. She's a small business owner. She's a consultant. She helps with legislation for trafficking. Like you're kind of doing a lot of things. And one of my favorite questions to ask people like you is like when people meet you at a party and they're like, hey, what do you do? What the hell what is your answer? Where do you start?
I usually start with something that's not true.
Yeah, really, right. I'm a spy. Uh-huh.
I'm like a barista.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's a good job. That's a good job. What's your favorite coffee to make?
I don't even drink coffee, so this is such a. I did make an espresso this morning.
All right.
Yeah, I make good espresso martinis. But
Oh, that
has nothing
Now,
to do
there you
with
go.
medicine.
You're
Very
good.
good. All right, let's start with the mental health field. Give me a little bit of context there. What does that mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah, for you, like personally, what did you do in that space?
Yeah, so that's where my career started, was
Oh,
in
really?
the mental health field. So I had dual degrees in psychology and social work. I was a clinical therapist in the Chicago public schools.
Wow.
We're working mostly with juvenile delinquents and people on the different spectrums. So
Yeah.
I did that for about 15 years and then decided to go to medical school to become a doctor. And that's how my path changed into naturopathic medicine.
Yeah.
And went here in Arizona for that.
Okay. Yeah, I work with juvenile inmates over at Durango Detention Center. I get to go in and speak life into those guys a few times a year. Yeah, it's really amazing work. You know it.
Yeah.
I always feel like that whole group is they're a little information gap away from it all making sense. I've
Honestly,
just gotten
my favorite population ever to work with in that field was always the kids
Yeah.
that were in the behavior disorder schools and had gotten in and out of trouble. They're really great.
They're creative, they're energetic, they're just ready for somebody to like point them in the right direction and do something great. Where does this clinical research come into play then?
Well, that's just been, as a doctor, obviously you have
Yeah.
to go through different research protocols, and research is part of the protocols that we use in medicine. During COVID, I was asked to be on a couple clinical trials to test out the different vaccines that were coming to market. And yeah.
Okay, all right. And then you're a physician, you're a therapist, a small business owner. Maybe that takes us to modern medicine, which is one of your newest adventures.
Yes, and
what
that
is that
kind of
about?
brings everything together, like
It
you were
does.
talking about.
Okay.
So it was a way for me to utilize all of my degrees under one umbrella. So the motto for modern medicine is look better, feel better, think better. And so we do things like life coaching. We do things from the external space in the aesthetic market, and then the internal, like stem cells, regenerative medicine, specialized testing for athletes that maybe are already healthy and want to lead a healthier life, but they just don't know how to do that. So we might do food allergy panels or micronutrient panels, hormone testing, anything in the specialized space that just makes you look better and feel better.
I'll tell you, I got to work with a naturopath, Dr. Wendy Wells. She's up in Scottsdale. I don't know if you're familiar with her. I don't assume that y'all know each other, but she was instrumental in changing my gut health. You know, I was in a really terrible spot for a long time, and she was able to kind of put her hands and her expertise, and I didn't have to do it with a bunch of medicine, which was kind of my favorite part of it, right? We just we did some supplements, we did some things that were going to let my gut kind of heal itself. And so let's have this conversation. The body has its own way of fixing itself, doesn't it? And
yeah, absolutely.
And we're in the way a lot of the times, aren't we?
We do, and we just don't realize what we're doing to our bodies. So gut health is a huge thing that naturopathic physicians excel in, and that's because we look at, in general, we're trained to look at the cause and not just put a Band-Aid on, which, you know, there's a space for allopathic medicine, but a lot of times that's just, here's your pill for your symptom versus getting to the root cause of it. So naturopathic doctors are trained to look at what's causing this, and it might be food allergies. It might be that you just need to take some supplements that help with digestion or help repair your gut lining so that you don't have reactions to those foods. Obviously, if we're talking food allergies, there's some things that you just have naturally with your autoimmune system that might have been passed down from your parents that you can't get rid of. So people, when you think of like a peanut allergy, that's just something that is never going to go away. But there are things that are fixable once you know them, and then you start feeling better and go, oh, all right, maybe this makes a little bit of sense. It makes sense to actually look at what was causing these symptoms. Like for you, you might have had eczema or, you know, indigestion, gas, bloating, those types of things, but never known migraine, headaches, and those can all stem from something as simple as a food intolerance.
Usually it's stress, right? I mean, that's so funny. I've just landed on this thing that, man, stress is like one of the biggest killers to our body, and managing it is really the critical piece. Who is your favorite kind of patient or client to work with? Like,
I'll be honest, I'm so blessed. I love all my patients. They're wonderful. I never thought of myself as a family practice doctor, but all of my patients have been with me for so long and followed me from different spaces to different spaces. I see their wives, I see their kids, I see their brothers, and they're just my patients. I just really attract good people, and I'm grateful for that.
That's so cool.
I want to shift gears a little bit.
All right.
Let's do it.
Yeah, put the microphone to your face.
Her new endeavor,
Uh-huh.
Mesa Mingles.
What's that?
That let to the audience share what that is. And
Is this a dating app?
I know, right? It's a little.
It sounds like
it's
that.
a little tricky. It's Mesa Mingles networking.
Okay.
So it's for small businesses. The idea is to weave together different parts of the community, the business community, so that we're supporting small businesses that are up and coming or have just opened, and then also bring together community members and leaders within the community.
Okay.
So yesterday we were very fortunate. We had Sal DeSuccio, who does a lot of political
yeah.
commentary,
We know
Sal.
come out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's great. So he came out, and we had some community engagement members from the Mesa Police Department, and then just different community members, and we supported Rebel Wine Lounge, which is a newer business within Mesa.
Great.
And we were able to, bring them business and money that they would not have otherwise had on a Wednesday night.
And how often are you guys meeting?
We're going to do it once a month, the first Wednesday of every month from 6 to 8. It'll be a rotating venue within Mesa. So if anybody out there has a great venue that you want us to host our next one at, let me know.
And who are the people would be good for this? Who are you?
Do they have
looking
to be in Mesa?
Do they?
They do not.
Oh,
Yesterday
okay.
we had people come from Scottsdale, Chandler, Tempe. We had people from all over the community that are just really looking to be able to engage in civilized discourse and support small businesses. So it's open to anyone. It's just come out and be part of your community and help support other people.
Do you have a website yet set up?
We just set up our Facebook page. So
Okay, Facebook?
Mesa Mingles. Yep.
Mesa Mingles. Okay.
Yeah. Join it, like it, follow it.
And I'm sure
Be
you
a
have.
part
That's
of
when
it.
they can find out all the information about the meetings and where they are. And
Yep.
'cause you said you're rotating, so.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. See the pictures from last night's event. We had about 40 people. It was our first kickoff event, and we had
Nice.
about 40 people come out.
That's great.
That's super cool. What's the goal with that? To just kind of help elevate these small
just,
businesses?
during COVID, you saw so much isolation,
Yeah.
and being someone with a mental health background, we talk about depression and anxiety, and part of the reason for that is that people are isolated and they want to engage in community. They don't know how, they don't know where to go, they don't want super stressful environment. And this is just very neutral and laid back, and lots of really good people that come out, and we kind of make it so that they don't, if you're a wallflower, it's okay. We do a lot of announcements and give people a moment at the mic to announce their businesses. So you can just be there by yourself or be with a group of people and still have fun.
Thanks for sharing, because that was one of the questions. I think that stops a lot of people from going to network events. The kind of that stiff event. They don't necessarily want to talk, and I guess you sound like you make it a much more comfortable environment for people to come in.
Yeah, and I just try to connect people with, if I know that you're in the fitness arena and I know the guy on the other side that you may have not been introduced to is also in that arena, I'll make sure to make that introduction so you have a warm introduction, and then you guys can take it from there.
All right.
That's great.
This sounds really good.
Yeah.
I want to get back to the medicine part that you know in your practice and kind of the stuff that you're really into. What are some of the innovations that are coming out that are really exciting to you?
Oh gosh, this is such a fun field because I love the bioscience industry and I've gotten more involved with that. Trying to think of, there's some great, medications that are coming out. There's some great things they're doing even within the agriculture space for, water. Let's see, what's the most? This is hard.
Okay, maybe a couple of top three, yeah.
I was just at a conference and I'm trying to think of what was the best thing that I saw there. There was one specific thing that has been developed. It's an app where you can, it's kind of like an Uber, but for nursing staff. So there's this big shortage of healthcare workers right now. By 2030, we're going to have a shortage of 3,000 doctors in Arizona and shortage of nurses as well. Well, someone created an app where nurses get qualified, all their credentials are in there. So a hospital, if they're understaffed, they can go on there and essentially order a nurse, and you get to decide if you want to take that shift. You get paid through that. It's wonderful.
So we were I work with Dr. Robert Todd Hurst. I don't know if you know his name, but he's the longevity specialist who spent, his whole career in the cardiology field, and he's a brilliant human being. And he just had on the author of The Potentialist. Have you read that book by Ben Lytle?
I have not.
You should pick it up. And I'm saying that because of what you're talking about, because Ben was having this discussion with Todd about this doctor shortage that's getting ready to come about, because people don't, it's a real hell of a commitment. Like it's not a 2-year degree, it's not a 4-year degree. Like, you're in the hunt for 12 years before you're really out doing what you want to do and what you're able to do. So I'll ask you this question because I'm curious what you think about it. What bridge will AI help us gap in that space? Because Ben seems really passionate, and this is a guy he is all in on this stuff, but he seems really passionate that AI is going to help us bridge that gap exponentially, because it's instantly going to make people faster learners, less mistakes. We're just going to have a better knowledge base because of what he calls our AI bot, if you will. So your thoughts on what AI will do for the medical world?
Well, it's already being incorporated in a variety of different ways. I think on the most basic level, it's incorporated in just helping to speed up with chart notes and SOAP notes for different differential diagnoses, where people can now tap into that and get a chart note created where that might have taken somebody hours to do and taken away from direct patient care. So on a very basic level, I think that's one of the pluses to it. I think on the flip side of that, what people are afraid of with AI, especially in the medical, is that it's a robot and it's not a human, and there's certain things that you just don't get with a robotic machine, because AI essentially is information in, information out. So there is room for error. One of the other things that's happening in the bioscience space is that they're creating different clinics to kind of just do the screening portion, where the blood pressure, the heart rate, screening questions can be done by an AI, by a bot machine. So then that eliminates the need for the staff. And since we have a shortage of staff, that takes away and helps solve that problem. And then we're talking about now doing robotic surgeries and utilizing AI for that. Pros and cons, depends on which side of the coin you're on. But I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Yeah, how could you not be? Like, Ben even inserts, he's like, with every technology that comes out, we misuse it, and then we figure it out, and then we sort of land on how we're going to use it. But, that's all very, very true. Within your practice, what sort of specialties do you offer?
probably what I just kind of mentioned briefly before, we're really eclectic. So we look at everything from top down. So
Yeah.
it might be mental health. We do life coaching. We work with different corporations. A lot of corporations now are trying to look at what they can offer to their employees.
So smart. Corporate wellness is a big deal.
So we might offer life coaching sessions and come in or to do an in-service or just do a lecture for those people. And then we do the mental health component where we do an autonomic reset, which is very different. So instead of traditional therapy, it's a way to kind of reset. Everybody, your stress level rises and it's really hard to get that down low. Your cortisol, your adrenal glands are going crazy, and for people, they just don't know how to down-regulate that, and they don't necessarily want to go through like a traditional psychoanalysis appointment.
Or we do, but we don't like the answer.
Yeah. And so this is just a way that is passive for you to be able to downregulate those stress pathways. So that's something unique that we do. And then the specialized testing, hormone testing, micronutrient testing, those specialties. Okay. And other than that, we do aesthetic medicine as well. So anything that makes you look good on the external piece of it, from lasers to PRP,
Steve
stem
and I?
cells, hair replacement.
Yeah,
What's available for Steve and
please
I?
fix me. I wanted to kind of, and then I had a question on that, a little bit of lighthearted question.
Oh, okay. I like it. These are the good ones.
Yeah, a little bit. You help people enhance their appearance, right, while keeping it natural. What's one of the most common mistakes people make while trying to make themselves look younger and refreshed? And what's your best less is more for the audience advice?
Oh my goodness. I think my best advice, so I do a lot of training in this space as well, is look at the person that's doing your work, because that's probably what you're going to end up looking like.
So funny.
Everybody always looks for the horror stories. They go online and they see these horrible lip injections, and then it scares them off. But look at the person that's doing it.
So keep it. So if they, in other words, if they look natural, you're going to look natural?
Most likely.
Okay.
Yes.
And if they look like they're like a balloon, they're blown up like a balloon, you might look like you're blown up like a balloon?
And
okay.
I mean, truly, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So everybody has a different vision of what looks
and
good.
I've got my opinion about the less is more. My thing is...
tell us.
Okay, well, so... the eyelash thing for the women, like
here we go, man.
I don't get it.
I'd
say
glad.
I'm sorry. I know they're going to be all mad at me, but I'd say less is more. Like that's like the one I'd say leave that one out.
Steve, I just want to say I'm so glad I didn't wear fake eyelashes today.
I know. Can you imagine?
I looked at you before I said that. Trust me, I would have walked into that though. But that's what I would say. But is that like something you would give people advice, like, hey, your eyelashes are beautiful, you don't need to do that? Or
when someone comes to me for a consult, I'm always asking them, I don't want to create self-esteem issues. It's what bothers you is most important. I might look at something, and if they ask me, if they defer to me and say, well, what do you think, doc? I'll give them the honest feedback, but I don't want to create something that's not there for them.
I guess what I'm saying is that when somebody comes in and they're like, listen, I want that, and you're like, hey, I want a ton of that, and you're like,
but this is where her
so
training
much.
as a mental health professional comes in, right? Because there's a lot of people who
they think that, right?
Yeah, they come in and they want to do something, but this is why you're good at your job.
Right, that's what I'm trying. Yeah, that was my question.
Also, the clientele that I attract is very different. They're not the extreme cases that you're talking about, and they generally are already healthy. They already look good. They just might want to tweak some things and look a little better, or be a little healthier, or see if there's something that they can do.
That's I guess that maybe I didn't ask it correctly, but that's the kind of where I was thinking, like like somebody that comes in and like there's sometimes people get misconceptions about something, and they're like, you're like, no, you don't
maybe
need
Botox,
that.
right? Like
Yes.
less is more.
Like,
Botox, right? There's some people and their faces stop moving, and you're like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
And you just reminded me of something, because I do have some clients that come in, but honestly, I think they do come in for the mental health piece of things, because we talk more than we do medicine.
Right.
And I think it's usually, I have one client in mind right now, and she's fine with me saying this, but every time she breaks up with someone, she makes an appointment with me. And so I always know, it's like, I'll be like, all right, what happened with boyfriend? Who are we dating now? And she's like, I just needed to see you. And it's not about the lip injections or about the hormone replacement. It's about talking about what's going on in her personal life. Yeah. And I will let them know. Say, you know what? You don't need this. Come back in a month. Come back in 2 months.
That's awesome. that where that led.
more
is
fun
exactly what I was
questions
looking for. I mean, I think it's all been fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that was fun.
You learn a lot.
Yeah,
and this
you
is why
learn-
it's
yeah.
cool to sit down with people like
Exactly.
you, because you have this whole skill set that you bring to the table, and that makes you so valuable. When I started working with Todd, he would tell me the story about how back in the day, there was the foot doctor and the leg doctor and the arm doctor and the neck doctor and the head doctor, and the problem was that we saw all of those things as separate things, and it was like, fix my neck, fix my gut, fix my knee, and people like her know full well it's all tied together. Yeah, and we got to look at everything and then get it straight there. How do I find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you if I've heard you, I've listened to, I've watched you, I've sung the song "Lady in Red," and I want to be a part of this thing.
I want to be fixed. I want an injection. I want to look good. Where do they find you?
For big eyelashes, go to.
Well, I don't do eyelashes.
See? everything
That's
but
an
everything
esthetician, not
but
a doctor.
You're right.
everything but.
You can find me at modernmedicineaz.com or on LinkedIn, Dr. Bridget Fitzgibbons, or our office number is 480-269-3623.
We'll put that in the lower. Put that on the screen, okay, Max? Or the phone number right on the screen.
Yeah.
And then don't forget about Mesa Mingles. Look that up on the Facebook page. You can follow, join the meetings, especially if you're somebody who's looking to step up your game and get around some good people with good energy.
Yeah, I love that. I do want to tell you one thing.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think, racking my brain for what was my favorite new bioscience
Did something
device
come
and
to
AI.
mind?
Yes, in Tucson, they just created the first 3D printer that created a heart. So
Created
a heart.
Oh,
A heart,
my
a replica.
goodness.
Yeah, so that's pretty impressive, especially in the cardiovascular state, which we know cardiovascular
Think about what that does
disease
for
is
the
on the rise.
transplant industry,
Yes,
too.
yeah. So
This
that's-
could be a
that's really
game changer
huge.
for people.
Wow. So that's pretty impressive.
Wow. Okay, as a guy who's got heart disease in his entire family, you got my attention there, right? Right. I don't want a pig heart. I want one of those 3D printed hearts. That's what I'm looking for.
A brand spanking new one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A great interview.
Thank you.
Thank
Bridget
you.
Fitzgibbons here on
Very
our Move the Needle
fascinating interview.
podcast. We're going to take a quick break. Let me get my paper here, Max. Sorry to be fumbling around. And when we come back from the hair of the dog, we are going to sit down with Brian.
Yes.
All right. We'll see everybody in a
Thank
minute. Welcome back. It's episode 34. This is segment number 3. Did we save the best for last? Well, I guess we're about to find out.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
See if you can deliver the goods. Let's see.
Brian McKean is a man. This guy's got his hands in a bunch of stuff, right? Grew up in the Midwest, was in the Navy, went around the world, and
Yeah.
Now he's got a coming soon project that we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. You serve on the Town of Queen Creek's Economic Development Commission. And that is one of those things that is exploding right now. I'm not talking about the commission. I'm talking about the Town of Queen Creek.
Oh, yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Get into that a little bit, man. What the hell are you all putting in the water down there?
I don't know. I think it's just a great place to kind of move away from the Central Valley. So you get kind of out of the city, but still get kind of that small town feel. But they're putting up like 1,800 rooftops a year. There's a ton of growth out there.
It's
insane.
unbelievable. Yeah, our good friends moved down there a couple of years ago, and they bought their house, and now their home's almost doubled in price.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, and it's the way they've built the freeway system here. It's not far. You can kind of you get
Well,
there
they're working
quick.
on that
Yeah,
too, aren't they?
yeah, and even quicker.
Yeah.
They're
so
up
they're-
building a new road.
There's like the 24, which is the $1 million
24.
off ramp. But now it's going to be a freeway, so it should be pretty cool.
It's a blessing, right?
Yes.
Because, Steve and I, you lived in Ahwatukee a number of years. That's
Yeah.
where I live, is in Ahwatukee. And the big beef about Ahwatukee for years and years and years was that there's one way in, one way out. Like, you go down Pecos Road, or you go down Chandler, you go down Ray, or you go down Warner, and then you have to hop on the 10, and that's your only way out of it. But now that we've got the 202, we're so close, and we can reach
Yeah.
out and touch all our
Buzzing
neighbors on
around.
the west side, get to Levine a bunch easier. What's your role within the commission?
So I serve on the Economic Development Committee, but I also chair the Downtown Arts and Placemaking. So I have like an artistic background when I was growing up in high school. So really like art. We're just trying to create like an identity for downtown Queen Creek that kind of mimics like downtown Gilbert or downtown Mesa,
Great.
something like that.
Yeah, no, those are good pockets, man. You've been an owner of a brewery for a while,
Yes.
Old Ellsworth.
Yep, for 8 years.
And is this some of your tasty beer right there?
This
or-
is not. This
No.
is from Phantom Fox.
Yeah, okay.
Also a good brewery.
Yeah, Hair of the Dog. It looks like you have a relationship with these folks here.
I know all the owners of Hair of the
Yeah,
Dog.
talk
Yep.
about that. Where'd you guys all meet up?
One of the owners, his name's Gary. He actually was one of the first regulars at our brewery. So I've known Gary for about 8 years. Through Gary, I met Darren, and then through those two guys, I met Randy. So, yeah.
Okay. And you guys have all been hanging out for some time.
For some time, yeah.
He's got a coming soon project. Again, we're going to get to this in just a couple of minutes. But you had mentioned to him before we started talking, Steve, that he's done a lot of jobs. And I always love to talk about what people did before they do the thing that they end up doing. So I'm going to ask you first, Steve. Okay. Give me the most random jobs that you had on the way up.
My most random job I had on the way up would have to be, I took care of an old couple. I would take them shopping.
Okay.
And wherever they had to go.
All right.
It was actually a great job.
I did like a temp job situation for about a year and a half. And so like every week I was in a new location. I used to clean out dumpsters. I used to be in a factory and build machine parts.
That's awesome.
I would go. I mean, there was just all kinds of randomness in my career. I used to be a wedding DJ. I mean, like I have done so many random things. Give me your list of randomness.
I'll
please,
give you a short story. I'll try to make it super short. So when I went through MEPS and I ended up at boot camp, my father got a phone call, and my company commander was like asking him all these questions because I had listed on my application going in that the last two jobs I had was Christmas tree trimmer.
Yes.
And I also did
Great job.
teepee pole skinning. So I would take
what?
Teepee pole skinning.
Oh.
So we had a friend that made teepees out of canvas, and I would take a draw knife, just like they did back in like way back a long time ago, and just pull the bark off and set them aside and let them dry. And I did that for a while before I went in the Navy.
What is the trick of the trade there with the TP situation?
Don't hit the knots.
Don't hit the knots.
Yeah, that's where your blade stops and everything goes south.
So let me guess. He called your dad and said, "Is this kid
like,
for real? Is this a
look
spoof?
at this smart aleck.
Is this a spoof?
What is this guy doing?"
Yeah, let's get him employed. Let's
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah.
Okay, now we've landed on what you seem to be really good at. You've been in the restaurant brewery business here for a little bit, and you're getting ready for your newest adventure, which is called the Sacred Pint.
The Sacred Pint.
It's going to be 2 locations, one down in Queen Creek, and then the other one that's going to be in Mesa. Give me some launch dates.
I don't have confirmed dates for either one, but we're looking at the
Roughly.
first week in May for downtown Mesa, and then about 2 or 3 weeks after for Queen Creek.
Okay, so what's going to be special about this place, right? Like, what's its point of differentiation?
So the idea behind the Sacred Pint is to create a place where you can gather, much like this, just chill and hang out. The Queen Creek location will be more almost like a loungy feel. So low top chairs like these. The Mesa location will be kind of eclectic. There's a little bit different crowd down there, but we also have an event space behind it. So we'll be able to do like unplugged shows for artists that are coming into town, or comedy shows, or karaoke, or bingo, or
Did you meet Thomas James?
I did.
Okay, good.
I met him. He's going to come play for us.
He's got to come play, right? and we'd love to come podcast
that'd be
at
great.
your spot when you get it going.
I've got a question on the name, Sacred Pint.
Okay.
Obviously, to me, it suggests something more than just a place to grab a drink. What does it symbolize for you?
So-
and what do you hope the patrons can connect through Sacred
Yeah,
Pint?
I guess coming from the beer industry, from craft beer, like I love craft beer. So whenever I'm hanging out with my buddies and we're sharing a pint, and like we're always talking about like, remember this day, or remember that guy, or hey, congratulations on doing this. So the Sacred Pint is all about raising your pint glass to celebrate something that happened in your life, or remember something that happened, or somebody, or something like that.
All right,
So-
that leads us to a pretty
Awesome.
natural question, which is, give me something that you have cheers to lately. A cool moment in your life.
The potential opening of the Sacred Pint soon.
Yeah. It's a big accomplishment,
yeah.
because it does take a lot of work.
But I mean, 8 years for the brewery too. That's awesome, and
Yeah.
it's been a good run so far.
Is it all about brew, or are you guys serving snacks and eats and foods too? How does that work?
So for the Sacred Pint, it will be beer, wine, sake, like non-alcoholic stuff like neurotropics and things like that.
Oh, great idea.
But yeah, it's mostly focused on the before or after dinner drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to hear that, man, because so I'm a former alcoholic. I set it down in 2006.
Congratulations.
And the bar scene for me is shit, man. Like I hate it, right?
Yeah.
Because I hate being around a bunch of people that are just getting wasted and
Yeah.
doing the thing. And I'm looking for more places where I can go outside of a coffee shop where everybody's just caffeinated to all
Yeah,
hell.
right.
Where I feel like I can relax with people and hang out with people, and I've got options on the menu that aren't root beer and lemonade and water.
Yeah.
Right. And so talk about the nootropics and some of the things that you're going to be serving there.
So, I mean, there's a lot of like mushroom-derived things that aren't like psychoactive or
Yeah,
anything,
yeah,
but things that
Lion's
calm you
mane
down.
and some
Yeah,
of these other
exactly.
things.
Those things are really cool, I think, and it's making a big move into the market. And I think it's something that we can definitely put in and offer to people who are in
Super
your
cool.
specific situation. And like, even if your wife or girlfriend doesn't necessarily like drinking and you want to go have a beer, then bring her with you and she can have that.
Right.
If
How do
she's
you
not
serve
into
them?
Cold in a glass.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. I think most of them are canned or in bottles like a wine.
Okay.
So it would come like in that way, like a wine glass or poured into a pint glass.
Okay. Yeah, I just wasn't sure like what the flavoring is like. Is is everything fruity?
I haven't
or-
tried one yet,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Okay. Well, when you guys open up, I'm
Yeah.
gonna come in and give it a shot. That sounds like a really good idea.
Oh, well, I mean, I want to talk about, I guess, the board games, kind of like the improv, the comedy. Is this kind of like you feel like this is the new type of establishment that's coming up? Is this like, can you talk a little bit about that? What's
Sure.
the thought process?
So the Mesa Spot has a comedy troupe that kind of performs behind it in the space. It's called Neighborhood Comedy Theater, and they're an improv comedy show. It's awesome. I think their tickets are like $17 for a Friday night show, which is super cheap. And they're fantastic. They're hilarious. I've seen them a couple times. But for like the Queen Creek Spot, there's a resurgence of people who like to, like older people, or I don't know how old you guys are, but like I'm
Older.
I'm 48, so
There you go.
I like to play like board games that I played when I was growing up, like Risk and Trivial Pursuit and things like that. So we're gonna incorporate some touch screen, like they're called infinity tables, but basically it has every board game you can imagine loaded on it.
Love it.
So you can just flip through,
Love it.
sit there, play Trivial
To
Pursuit.
your point, Matthew, that's the entertainment, and I guess that's my question is: do you feel like this is you guys are on the cutting edge? This is kind of where, to Matthew's point, a lot of people feel the way you do, that
Yeah.
they don't want to go to the Listen,
their
if you don't-
clubbing days are behind
Yeah,
them.
the
That's
clubbing
all.
days, but you still want to go out. You want to be social,
Right.
So this is a way to do this. You feel like this is like something that's kind of the future, I guess.
Yeah,
to
for sure.
say.
I mean, I think it's something that hasn't been done. Like we see the places that have video games and that do like lots of live music events and sports and stuff like that. This is just something that's maybe not really focused on that I think.
And what makes me think about is there's a spot that we dine as a family in Tempe called the Culinary Dropout.
Love that place.
And the reason
Yeah.
we love it is because there's live music in one
Yeah.
corner. There's like what is it, foosball or ping pong
Yeah.
or something like that. There's cornhole, and
Yeah.
so like the adults can kind of sit around and sit at the table, and the kids can go and do some things. And then when you get antsy, you can step
Just
up
get
and,
out.
and get crazy.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
Yeah, good. All right, so we're looking forward to the Sacred Pine. As soon as it opens up, you can bet your ass we're going to be podcasting live from it just to make sure people
Me
know
too.
about it.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be there.
and let's bring you on. So Brian's an owner and operator, a fixer, a maker of malty beverages, and soon to be the owner and operator of the Sacred Pine. Thank you so much for spending a couple of minutes with us, man.
No,
we're not done yet.
Oh, we're
We're
not
not
letting
done
him
yet.
go. No,
We got one more.
We got
Hang
one
on.
more.
Thing.
Okay,
We got
we got
one
one
more.
more thing. I've heard, and you said he's a jack of all trades. This is a guy.
You can
if
ask
it-
him to fix something?
Oh yeah, if it's broke, he can fix it. So here's a challenge. Okay, what's the strangest, the most ridiculous thing you've ever fixed or attempted to fix that involved duct tape, ingenuity,
Oh, my goodness.
determination? Come on, Mister,
I don't
Fix
have
It.
a duct tape story, but I have a shoelace story.
There we
Let's
go.
go.
Let's hear it.
MacGyver, let's hear it.
I had a straight six and a Dodge Dart when I was growing up, and I lost the fan belt in it. So I took a shoestring and I tied it around and then wrapped a bolt and tied the bolt into the shoestring and made a fan belt so I could get
MacGyver.
brilliant. That's brilliant.
MacGyver.
It
That's
was kind of crazy, but it worked.
I love that. That's what
Yeah.
I was looking for. That's,
Yeah.
that's
Do you have a
great.
story
Great
like
story.
that?
No, I'm not a fix-it guy. Sorry.
like
a
fix it guy.
Thank you. I wish that. I wish
Yeah,
I
I
was.
know my limitations too. I
Yeah.
call guys like Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
I'm
me,
not a master of any trade, but I dabble in all of them.
when I heard him say that, like shoelace,
Yeah.
No, not me.
Not you.
I had to get home. It was a long drive. It was
love that.
raining too, so it was horrible.
All right, well, listen, as we wind down today from the hair of the dog, want to say thanks to, of course, Brian,
Thank
Dr.
you,
Bridget
guys.
Fitzgibbons, Thomas James, and we're not ready to kind of like fully wrap up today because Thomas James is actually going to step in here.
I can't
play
wait
a
to
couple
hear
of
this.
songs.
That's gonna be awesome.
So, yeah, thanks to Bella Sett, thanks to Brooklyn Vives, thanks to the Tutor Doctor, thanks to the crew here at the Hair of the
Yeah,
Dog.
Randy. Thank you, Randy.
Yeah, and so hang tight, man. We're just going to transition out of these chairs, and the next thing you know, Thomas James is going to be right here playing for you.
Okay, this is a song from a record coming out called Two Horses. Well, when might be my last sunset slips between the space of the prison bar. Looking back on my life, I wonder how I slipped this far. Had some fun running gun down the road till some Mona Lisa brought me down. My life stands in the hands of a judge in a God-forsaken town. Won't you save me from the tree in the noose that hang below? The sun don't shine and now that's fine, but tonight I'm ready to go. Would you please send me them keys? Well, now you got to know. Tonight I'm getting out of this cell in the hell out of Mexico. Another runner turned on me and it turned the judge as well. Condemned my neck to the tree and my soul's hanging in hell. In comes a man with a collar and a plan, and it says he can save my soul. And I'll be damned if he doesn't look just like a kid I knew back home. Won't you save me from the tree and the noose that hangs below? Sun don't shine and now that's fine, but tonight I'm ready to go. Would you please send me them keys? Well, now you got to know that tonight I'm getting out of this cell in the hell out of Mexico. With his face in his hands, he cries for me and says he can't forsake his vows. Me to the dead man's tree, and it's all but over now. And as he slipped the rope around my throat, I hear shots and the gods all run. And off in the distance, an outlaw priest, 2 horses and a smoking gun. Save me from the tree and the noose that hangs below. Sun don't shine and now that's fine, but tonight I'm ready to go. Would you please send me them keys? But now you got to know that tonight I'm getting out of this cell in the hell out of Mexico. Bridges are burned, and nowhere left to turn. And now my story's told. Go back to what I know. Yeah. Won't you save me from the tree and the noose that hangs below? The sun don't shine and now that's fine, but tonight I'm ready to go. Would you please send me them keys? But now you got to know that tonight I'm getting out of this cell in the hell out of Mexico. Tonight I'm getting out of this cell in the hell out of Mexico. Thank you. You're too kind. You're too kind. This is a sad song written to happy music. It's called Pieces. Take those pictures, the day we first met, hiking up in the mountains, first kiss at sunset, holding hands with a preacher, honeymoon on the beach. Pack up all of those pictures, put them all out of reach. The long road we share has come to an end. The time is strong, it's time to call the fight. The memories of pain and guilt remind me of wrong. This box reminds me of the right. Let's try to make it easy. Neither of us wanted it this way. There's two sides to every story, and neither side wants to stay. But the pictures in the moment of when we used to be in love, when we're done digging up our own selves, we'll have the box to rise above. Yes, we will. The long road we shared has come to an end. The time is strong, it's time to call the fight. The memories of pain and guilt remind me of the wrong. This box reminds me of the right. In time, heartache will heal. Time, numbness will feel. In time, we'll realize what was lost by going through the pictures in the box. Thank you. Sure. Stay home tonight. You know the reason. You know it's treason if I'm right. Turn down the lights and try to make the best of it. You know we both it ain't right. Trembling so, never let you go. By now I thought that you should know I'll never let you go. Now come back to bed. Problems with your problems, love. All of these problems are just in your head. Turn down the lights. Try to make the best of it. Even we both know it ain't right. Right, you're trembling so. Never let you go under my skin. Since the day I let you in, deep in my heart. Ooh, no, we'll never be apart. By now I thought that you should know never let you go. And I draw the line every time, and I swear this time I might just let you go. No. If you leave, please leave, and we might be in a one-way lover's bind. So I'll take my time, I'll take my time, and I'll take my time, and I'll take my time. A trembling soul never let you go under my skin. Since the day I let you in deep in my heart, I know we'll never be apart. But now I thought that you should know I'll never let you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.